G'day my friends, Marty Ware here from Marty's Garden. Today, I've got a really cool video for you. You know, I'm always talking about growing in season. Well, determinate tomatoes are awesome for the fall, so into the autumn and into spring. And the reason why is because you can get your crops up and growing quicker. Now, I've got my morning cup of tea. It's 7 AM, it is still winter here, but I'm forward thinking about what you guys can do coming into these upcoming seasons so you can keep on growing and keep on getting food out. Nothing to do with this footy jumper here, which I'm sporting here, right here and now. Got a bit of a story about this, so hang around if you're into following the sports. Here in Australia we have our own rugby league. Usually you drink it with a coffee or a beer. Got my morning tea this morning. Anyway, let's go look at these tomatoes that I've just started growing. It's winter, but I'm getting ready for the spring, and you can do this for the fall also. Okay, now before I start showing you the tomatoes, I've got to explain myself a bit, right? There's 3 different types that you should consider growing, right? All different times of the year. Now, you've got determinates, indeterminates, and semi-determinates, right? Or semi-indeterminates, they're the ones that are in between those 2 others. Now, the determinates, they just grow in pots. You generally see them at the store and they say, yeah, you can grow this in a pot. And they grow anything from like 30 centimeters up to about 50 centimeters, 60 centimeters high. And they produce a lot of fruit after about 5 to 6 weeks, then they die off quite quickly. They don't grow through the whole season. And they're unreal for late season and early season because you can get crops before your indeterminates, which I'll explain now, are the long vining ones that grow right through the summer and keep vining out, and you're thinking, my stakes aren't high enough. They're not high enough. What do I do? What do I do? I need a bigger stake. Until eventually, and they're the ones you pull the tips out of and keep tipping them, keep throwing out fruits out the side, or you can let 2 like central leaders go and then sort of tip out of that. And then you've got semi-indeterminates, which are sort of in between the 2, and they can grow around about 1 metre tall generally, and I tip them out as well. I leave a few runners down the bottom, leave a bushy down the bottom, and they'll produce for a bit longer of a time than say a determinate. So you can grow all 3 of them, but my favourites at the moment are the determinates. I just love these little ones. I can put them in a pot so I can move them around the yard to follow the sun early in the seasons or late in the season, so they keep on fruiting really heavily. And then once they're done and dusted, I can collect the seed from them in the tomatoes. There's lots of different colours. You can get yellows, you can get pink ones, you can get sort of deep red, black ones, you can get black, you can get different grape shapes. It's just amazing the ones you can get. Look, you can basically create a whole channel just on growing these little tiny tomatoes, and some of them are like really ornamental, just absolutely beautiful. And one of the reasons I'm going to be growing quite a lot of them is to sell the plants, and also to sell the cherry tomatoes when they come on early into spring here. I'm going to be going up and down the street and to the restaurants and all different places selling the locals and stuff, cherry tomatoes and basil and different herbs and things. So I'm just excited about that. But let's get into the determinates, because they're the ones that I really want to push for you guys that are coming into spring and those who are coming into the fall, autumn, so you can keep your crops growing and, you know, keep growing food. Yeah, let's do this, shall we? So these are my semi-indeterminate winter tomatoes. Now, they have been a bit slow growing to get started, but we've had some really warm weather in the last few weeks, so they've really pumped, and they're really starting to get into this organic matter down below and getting their roots underneath the bales, which are distributed around in the bay here. And so what's happening is they're going to grow to around about the top of this stake. They'll produce lots of fruit for me. They'll go on for a bit longer. I'll cut them back. I'll let another central leader come out from down the bottom and maybe extend them out a bit longer. So excited about those. Then I'm going to be planting more determinates. I've got like totems, they're called totems, and minis, and I've got like a Roma bush as well. 3 different types, maybe even push 4 or 5 if I can find a few more and get them going. Now, have you ever grown determinate tomatoes? Like the little pot ones? Tiny Tim's going to be my little favourite to bring it out. It's only about 30 centimetres high. Hoping the seeds are going to come up and show them to you guys into the future. Anyway, let's have a chat about this jumper here. Are you into the footy? This is really funny. This for me, it's funny anyway. All right, let's go over. We'll go over to another spot where it's just a bit easier to film. These birds, man, they're fighting like no tomorrow over territory this morning. Yeah. Anyway, let's keep the camera rolling. All right, there's a funny story about this jumper, Broncos. If you follow the footy in Australia, this is one of our teams, and they're a pretty good team, but guess what? I'm not a Broncos supporter. I'm actually a Tigers supporter. Tigers are just going down, 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 right to the bottom. They're not doing real good. I've been a Tigers supporter since I was a young bloke. Now, Chris, my nephew, if you're watching this and your mates are watching it, I know you are. I know none of you are Broncos supporters. Pretty sure. Well, maybe some of you are. Anyway, Tigers all the way. But I got this jumper at an op shop. I love to recycle. I love to get into community stuff. And this was like nearly new. Fits me perfect. It's really warm. I love the colours. And every time I put it on, I feel guilty. I'm like, why isn't it a Tigers jumper? It needs to be a Tigers. Even though they're doing so bad. But, you know, that's the story to the jumper. Anyway, look, if you've been enjoying the show, plenty more videos on the way. Make sure you stay subscribed. Keep learning how to grow food here organically here from Marty's Garden at Mullumbimby in northern New South Wales, Australia. Right on the Byron Shire. Great place here. I'm selling compost out of my front yard if you're interested and you live local. I don't know if you'll find any better. Anyway, have a great everything. God bless. I'll see you at the next video real soon. Flexi hand. Let me know if you're growing determinate tomatoes. Bye for now.